Shalom Aleichem, my good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Noach. Anyway, here we have the Shulchan Aruch Chaim Hilchos Shabbos. This is from the Alter Rabbi. This is a sefer. This is the Shulchan Aruch Harav. Let's take a look at it. Mikavod Kedushas Adoneinu Mareinu Rabbeinu Hagadol Hagon Eloki HaChesed Meforsim Or Oilam Mofes Hador Nezer Yisrael B'Tefarta Kadosh Hashem Marana Rabbanon Rabbeinu Shnei Zalman. This is the first Lubavitch Rebbe, the cover of the Kedusha of the great Rebbe, the great man of Hashem. He was a chassid, meforsim. He was well known. Or Olam, the light of the world. Mofes Hador, the miracle of the generation. Nezer Yisrael, the crown of Yisrael, but Tifarto, the Yisrael's pride. Kadosh Hashem, the Holy One of Hashem. Rabbanon, Rabbeinu, Shnei Zalman. Asher Or Teresa v'Kedushas Chasiduso, Sheiru Pnei Tevel, Rabbim Holchu Lioro Hamaforsemet. Enu Tzarech Riyah, the great light of his Torah and the holiness of his Chasidus lit the faces of the people of the, and we don't have to see it even. It's known. V'toelas zeh hachibar kadosh u'mahusa kosav hador hu b'hakrama hakuntros achron nidfus hakol al mikomo. So this is talking about this particular volume. B Joseph. It's Josephus. The Carne es Waza Zafaflowi, 1855. The name is Joseph Lee. So anyway, here, and this is the censor. In those days, they had to have a censor that would allow it to be printed. So let's take a look at the beginning. Hilchos Shabbos, Reish Mem Beis, the Zor B'Kavod Shabbos, Ubo Yud Gimel Seifim. We have to be careful with the honor of the Shabbos. So, okay. Devarim Nisparshu B'Shabbos Al Yedei Hanavim. Shnei Devarim Nisparshu B'Shabbos Al Yedei Hanavim. Three things were explained about the Shabbos through the Nevi'im. Vehem Kavod V'Oneg. And they are, Kavod is honor. You should honor the Shabbos V'Oneg and have simcha, have hana. One should have benefit from the Shabbos. Sheneh Amar, because it says, V'karasa l'Shabbos Oneg. You should call the Shabbos Oneg, a pleasure. L'Kadosh Hashem Mechuvod. For the honor, the holiness of Hashem Mechuvod, who is honored. We should call the Shabbos Oneg. Oneg is we should have honor from it. V'ikaron min haTorah. V'ikaron min haTorah shehashabbosu bichlal mikroi kodesh. The main principle of the Torah is that the Shabbos is included. It's called mikroi kodesh. It's called holy. Shenamar, because it says Shenamar Uvayom haShabbos Uvayom haShvi'i Shabbos Shabboson. On the seventh day, it should Shabbos Shabboson. It should be a day of rest. Shabbos Shabboson, a holy day of rest. Mikra Kodesh. It should be called holy. It should be called holy. O Mikra Kodesh Pershu Chachamim Lekadesho Ulechavdo Bekisus Nekiya V'La'ango B'Oneg Achila V'Shisiya. And calling it holy, O Mikra Kodesh, calling it holy, Perishu Chachamenu, the wise, our Chachamim, the wise men said, Lekadesho Lechavdo B'Kisus Nekiya, to make the Shabbos holy and to and to honor it b'kisus nekiya with clean clothing, a set of clean clothing. We always feel better when we have some clean clothing to put on, so we should put on clean clothing in honor of the Shabbos. Ango, and to take pleasure in it, be oneg achila v'shasiyah. One should have a little bit of eating and drinking to have some oneg, some benefit. Some Mefarshim say that when we call mikra kodesh, it should be called holy, is we should have the Shabbos holy in the Be'isur Asiyas Malacha, that we shouldn't do Malacha, the various things that we shouldn't do on Shabbos. So that's how it's called holy. Aval HaKavod B'Shabbos V'Yom Tov V'Ha'oneg B'Shabbos Hein Midivrei Sofrim. However, honoring the Shabbos, HaKavod B'Shabbos V'Yom Tov, honoring the Shabbos and the Yom Tov, V'Ha'oneg B'Shabbos Hein Midivrei Torah. And having benefit on Shabbos, to honor it by having benefit on Shabbos, is midivrei sofrim. Dalet sof is divrei sofrim. So this is from the Rabbanon, from the rabbis. They learn it out. That kavod on Shabbos, v'yom tov, and also oneg on Shabbos is from the divrei sofrim. Aval ha'oneg v'asimcha b'yom tov, b'machol u'mishteh hu min haTorah. However, having pleasure in eating and drinking to a certain extent, via simcha b'yom tov, and simcha, and also being happy on yom tov, v'machol v'mishteh, ha'oneg via simcha b'yom tov, v'machol v'mishteh, hu min haTorah. But having benefit and happiness on yom tov with eating and drinking, some eating and drinking, who min haTorah? This is min haTorah. Okay, so that for Yom Tov is min haTorah. But some people say that on Shabbos, oneg and simcha, or is midivrei sofrim, from the Rabbanon, from the rabbis. Min haTorah, kemoshi yisbar b'sif tov kuf chav tes. That's the sif. That's the other. That's another further up. Umikol makom. Nevertheless, tzarich lizayer bohem. But still, we have to be careful with them. In other words, to have benefit on Shabbos and Yom Tov, even if it might be min divrei sofrim. It can be from the Rabbanon. Tzarich lizayer bohem ma'od shechamurim divrei sofrim yoter min divrei Torah, because the words of the Rabbanon we have to be more careful with them than with the words of the Midivrei Torah. Dalet Tov is Divrei Torah. Dalet Tov is Divrei Sofrim, and Dalet Tov is Divrei Torah. We have to be even more careful with the words of the Rabbanon, with the words of the rabbis, than from the Divrei Torah, because the words of the rabbis are the ones that teach the Torah, and they are the ones that are entrusted by Hashem to continue disseminating the Torah. So we have to be even more careful from the words of the Rabbanon than the words of the Torah itself. B'chol ha'ma'aneg es ha'Shabbos secharo mefuresh b'Kabbalah oz tizhaneg al Hashem, and the schar, the reward of meforish b'Kabbalah, it's and the schar, the reward of being ma'aneg and mesameach es Shabbos, giving honor to and to have pleasure and honor to the Shabbos and the Yom Tov. It's the schar is, it says oz tizhaneg al Hashem. Then you will have benefit from Hashem. You will have benefit from Hashem. Ubedivrei Razal, the words of Rabbanon Zichrono Levracha. Razal Reish Zayin Lamed. That's Razal. Rabbanon Zichrono Levracha. The rabbis of blessed memory. Shemochalin lo al kol avonosov. That whoever is careful to watch the Shabbos, all of his averos, all of his or her averos are mochalin. They are mochalin. They're absolved. They're forgiven. V'nitzel miduna shel gehenim, and he or she is saved from the din of Gehenim. Okay, Beis. But how can we have benefit from the Shabbos? In what way? How do we do this? Bimei Chachmei HaGemara, in the times of the Gemara, Hoyu Ma'angin B'dogim Gedolim. In the time of the Gemara, they used to have large fish, very large fish, Uvatavshil Shel Taredin, and a dish of Uvatavshil Shel Taredin. This we have to, a certain kind of dish. Shema'acholim Elo Hayu Chashuvin Oneg B'Mehem. Those different dishes were considered oneg, a pleasure to have. It was like a big ma'achol. It was when one had that, one was having a good time. When one was eating those things, these big fish, and also the taredin. This could be like either mustard or something, or it might be a salad or something. Taredin. So when one had this, one was having a lot of benefit by eating. This was like a good time. It was considered a very big benefit in those days. So in other words, when one would have that for Shabbos, one is honoring the Shabbos. B'chol makom u'makom lefi minhago v'ya'anguhu. Every place, community that one is in, according to their minhag, according to their customs of what is a good meal, one should try to have a little bit of that. And so that is considered an oneg, or maybe whatever. If let's say you like a certain thing, you have that. Whatever gives you the benefit that you like, so that will be your way of honoring the Shabbos, of having benefit on the Shabbos and honoring the Shabbos and the Yom Tov. Minhago yanguhu. So every place. But anyway, you're in a certain community, so that is their way of honoring the Shabbos and the Yom Tov, and having benefits. So that's the way you can do it also. Okay, so in every community, whatever their the custom is, that it's a good time having this kind of food, so that's considered an oneg. The ein chiyuv le'echol basar. It's not, one does not have a chiyuv, one does not have a obligation to eat basar, meat, v'lishtos yayin, and to drink wine in order to be considered oneg Shabbos, honoring the Shabbos and having a benefit from the Shabbos. Ela lafi shemin hastam. According, it's the usual practice. Yesh larov b'nei adam. Many people have oneg bi'achilas basar yoter mi b'shar ma'acholim. Since most people, they have more oneg, more benefit when they eat some meat, more than other kinds of food. Uv'shesiyas yayin yoter mi b'shar mashkim, and also they have more pleasure, more benefit when they drink wine, more than other kinds of drinks. So that's why it's good to have a little bit of meat and a little bit, and have some wine, because it's considered that this is when one is getting benefit from this. L'kach yesh lahem laharbos b'basar v'yayin kifi yecholtam v'hasogas yodom. So therefore, it's good to have a little extra meat and a little extra, and to drink a little bit of extra wine, according to how one can afford it, and if one can have it health-wise, etc. V'chol hamarbe b'hotzoas Shabbos v'gimel. V'chol hamarbe b'hotzoas Shabbos v'tikun ma'acholim rabim v'tovim hari zeh meshubach. Whoever spends more a little bit on Hotzoas Shabbos, on the expenses for Shabbos, and prepares ma'acholim rabim, a lot of nice things to eat. Hari zeh meshubach. This is praiseworthy. V'hu shiyodo maseges. This is according to what he can afford. V'yaf im ein lo achshav ma'os mizumanim elo chafetzim yimshochem v'yelavehu alehem. V'kadosh Baruch Hu yamtzi lo lefroa. And let's say he doesn't have the money right now to afford this, but he has some objects that he can sell. Or he can give it as a mashkan name. He can give it to a person as like a surety, and then he will lend upon the surety some money to buy these things to honor the Shabbos. V'akadosh Baruch Hu yamtzi lo lefroa, and Hashem will give him, with Hashem's help, he will give him the money to repay it back. Yalzeh, Arazel, according to this, Amar Rabbeinu, Rabbanu Zechorna Levracha, the rabbi said, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Hashem says, Lavu alai, v'ani pareya. Lavu alai, borrow from me, v'ani pareya, and I will pay you back. Kelomar she'ein, hotzoas Shabbos v'yom tov, ole b'cheshbon haktzava, sheniksav lo, b'rosh Hashanah lemezonos, kol Hashanah. In other words, the hotzoas Shabbos v'yom tov, the expenses for Shabbos and Yom Tov, are not in the cheshbon. They're not in the calculation of what Hashem decides what will be for us, our income for the whole year. In other words, if you buy more for Shabbos and Yom Tov in order to honor the Shabbos and Yom Tov and to have benefit in Shabbos and Yom Tov, Hashem will give you extra for the extra money that you put out for Shabbos and the Yom Tov. So she'ein hotzah Shabbos Yom Tov, the hotzah, the expenses for Shabbos and Yom Tov, are ein ola b'cheshbon. It does not go into the cheshbon of the calculation of haktzava sheniksav lo b'Rosh Hashanah. That for whatever Hashem calculated for us, the mezonos kol Hashanah for all the year. In other words, if we get extra, we want to honor the Shabbos even more, Hashem will give us more. B'shar tzarachav, shekach amar chachamim, the chachamim said, kol mezonosov v'hotzaosov shel adam kitzuvin lo me'Rosh Hashanah. Because the chachamim said, all the chachamim, the rabbis, the chachamim, the wise people said, all of the food and expenses of a person are said from Rosh Hashanah. Shekotzvin lo kama yishtaker. It's decided for him. It's decided for him or her how much he will make profit. Bashanazu, on this year, letzarech mezonosov, for the family's mezonos, for their food, or for the person's food. V'sha'ar tzarachav, and all of their needs. Shall call yemos Hashanah, for all the year. Chutz mi'otzos Shabbosos v'yom tovim. Except, everything is decided except for the hotzos, for the expenses of Shabbosos v'yomim tovim. Shein kotzvin oleho klum elo im mosif b'otzos Shabbos v'yom tov mosifin lo. So this is not decided. Elo im mosif b'otzos Shabbos, if one adds for the expenses of Shabbos, v'yom tov, and yom tov mosifin lo, Hashem will give him more, will give them even more. However, if one doesn't have money for it, then one does not have any object to give, like a mashkin, to give as a surety, to im ein lo chafetzim lemashkinim, if he doesn't have any objects to give it like a loan, lifro by him, and then he will lifro by him. In other words, to give the object as surety, so that to borrow money with. Lo yalava. If he doesn't have any object, he shouldn't borrow. He shouldn't just start borrowing money. B'shakadosh Baruch Hu yafrei, and then Hashem should pay him back. That he should not go so far as that. Ki me'achar she'ein lo mishalo ein olav chiyuv kalal laharbos ba'atzos Shabbos yoter me'hasogas yodo. Because since he doesn't have of his own, ein olav chiyuv. He does not have a chiyuv. He does not have an obligation to laharbos b'atzos Shabbos, to go extra on expenses for Shabbos, yoter me'hasogas yodo, more than what he can afford. If he can't afford such a big meal, he does not have to go borrow money for getting a meal for Shabbos. If you have a mashkun, you can. But to start borrowing money to get a bigger meal, you don't have to do that. You make do with what you have to honor the Shabbos. So this is the Shulchan Aruch Chaim of the Rabbi Zalman. That's how. And this edition is from 1855. Thank you very much. Kol Tov, a good Shabbos, a good Shiur.